The prison floated in the dark space, far away from stars, far away from hope. It was not built near any planet. It was hidden where no one ever traveled. The galaxy called it the Endless Prison because once someone entered it, they never returned. Inside this prison, time felt broken. Thousands of alien women were trapped there. Some had been prisoners for years, some for decades, others for centuries. No one remembered the exact number anymore. Names were forgotten. Birth worlds were lost. Only pain remained. The prison walls were cold metal, black and silent. The lights were always dim, never bright enough to feel alive. The air smelled of dust and fear. The guards were not living beings. They were machines, tall, sharp, and emotionless. They did not speak unless giving orders. They did not care if someone cried. The women were prisoners not because of crimes. They were prisoners because they were useful. Their species were rare. Their minds were valuable. The galaxy did not save them. The galaxy ignored them. Every day followed the same routine. Wake up. Stand in line. Work. Silence. Sleep. Hope was dangerous in the endless prison. Hope only made the pain worse. One woman sat near the wall, her back against cold metal. Her skin was pale blue, her eyes dull. Long ago she had tried to escape. The guards punished her so badly that others stopped trying after that. She looked at the ceiling and whispered words. No one answered. This place will never end. Most prisoners believed the same. The endless prison had never failed. Its defense systems were ancient and powerful. Its energy core was older than many civilizations. Even the strongest empires avoided this place. They called it a final solution. Then something changed. At first, it was small. A sound, a deep vibration passed through the prison walls. The lights flickered once. Just once. The women froze. The guards paused for a second longer than normal. That never happened. An alarm did not sound. No warning came. Silence returned, but it felt different now. Heavy, unstable. One of the women slowly stood up. Her heart was beating fast. She pressed her hand against the wall. She felt it again. Another vibration. Across the prison, machines suddenly moved faster. Guards began walking in groups. Red symbols flashed across their armor. The central AI activated emergency protocols. Then the words appeared on every screen. Unknown signal detected. The women stared at the screens. Unknown signal? That was impossible. No ship ever came near this place. The prison AI scanned again. Signal origin, human vessel. Silence exploded into chaos. Human. The word felt strange. Humans were not powerful in the galaxy. They had no great empire. No ancient weapons. Most species believed humans were weak, emotional, and easy to control. A human had no reason to come here. The guards turned aggressive. Defense cannons powered up. Energy shields surrounded the prison. The AI calculated thousands of outcomes. Every outcome ended the same way. Human destroyed. Prison remains. Inside one cell, a woman laughed softly. It sounded broken, almost painful. Human, she said. Poor soul. He will die before he even sees us. But then, the prison shook violently. This time, alarms screamed. Red lights flooded the corridors. The walls groaned as if something massive had struck them. Outside the prison, in the cold darkness of space, a single human ship floated near the outer gate. It was small, scarred, old. It did not look impressive. Inside the ship stood one man. Was human. His face was calm. His eyes were focused. He looked at the giant prison structure in front of him, this monster that had swallowed thousands of lives. The ship's AI spoke softly, warning, "This structure has never been breached." The man took a deep breath. Then today, he said, it learned something new. He moved his hand and activated the first sequence. A bright flash struck the prison's outer defense ring. Inside, the women screamed as the floor shook. Some fell to their knees. Others held each other in fear. No one understood what was happening. For the first time in its existence, the endless prison was under attack. The prison AI sent one final message through every corridor: remain calm. Escape is impossible. But deep inside the metal walls, cracks were forming. And somewhere among the prisoners, something long dead slowly returned. Hope. The endless prison had never known fear. For thousands of years, it stood untouched. No army attacked it. No fleet challenged it. The prison was not just metal and machines. It was an idea. An idea that said escape was impossible. But now, something was wrong. Inside the control chambers, the prison AI processed data at extreme speed. Defense systems were active. Energy shields glowed bright red. Weapon platforms locked onto the small human ship outside. The AI calculated again. Threat level, minimal. Probability of prison breach, 0. And yet, the outer defense ring had cracked. Outside the prison, the human ship drifted calmly, surrounded by flashing warning lights. The ship was old, built with mixed parts from different systems. It did not belong to any empire. Inside the ship, the human stood alone. His name was Ethan Cross. He was not a hero. Not a general, not a famous explorer. He was a salvage pilot, someone who searched forgotten space for lost things. He had seen abandoned stations, dead worlds, and broken ships, but he had never seen something like this prison. Ethan watched data scroll across his screen. His ship AI spoke again, this time with urgency. Multiple weapons targeting us. Recommendation: retreat. Ethan did not move. He remembered the signal he had intercepted days ago. A weak, hidden message buried under layers of encryption. It was not a call for war. It was not a military signal. It was a cry. Thousands of voices speaking as one. Help us. Most pilots would have erased it. Most governments would have ignored it. Ethan could not. He leaned forward and touched the control panel. Begin phase 2, he said. The ship responded instantly. A burst of focused energy shot forward, striking a narrow point on the prison's shield. It was not powerful. It was precise. Inside the prison, alarms grew louder. The women felt the floor tremble beneath their feet. Dust fell from the ceiling. Some screamed. Some covered their heads. Others stared at the walls in silence, afraid to believe what was happening. In one dark corridor, an older prisoner whispered, "It feels different." The guards moved faster now. Their weapons were charged. Orders echoed through the metal halls. Contain all prisoners. Prepare suppression. The prison AI adjusted its strategy. Human vessel identified as non-military. Conclusion: human error or madness. Outside, Ethan's ship shook as energy blasts hit the hull. Warning lights flashed. The eye raised its voice. Shields failing. Hull damage detected. Ethan smiled slightly. Good, he said. That means they're scared. He activated a new system, something he had built himself over many years. It was not advanced technology. It was not elegant. It was human. The device sent a signal, not an attack, but a disruption. It targeted the prison's ancient systems, confusing old code that had never been updated. Inside the prison, lights went out. For 3 full seconds, the endless prison was dark. In that darkness, something impossible happened. Cell doors unlocked. One by one, metal doors slid open across the prison. The sound echoed like thunder. The women froze, unable to move, unable to breathe. Open doors meant only one thing: freedom or death. The guards reacted too late. Emergency power returned, but the damage was done. The prison AI sent urgent commands: contain breach, eliminate intruder. Outside, Ethan's ship took a direct hit. The hull tore open. Air escaped into space. The AI shouted warnings, critical damage, survival chance decreasing. Ethan grabbed a handle and pulled himself upright. Blood ran down his forehead, but his eyes stayed sharp. Still breathing, he muttered. So we're not done. Inside the prison, the women slowly stepped out of their cells. Some cried, some laughed. Some fell to the floor, unable to stand. They saw guards running. They heard alarms screaming, and for the first time in their lives the prison felt weak. One woman looked at the open door and whispered, "Who did this?" As if answering her question, a new message appeared on every remaining screen inside the prison. The words were simple: "Human, I'm coming. Stay alive." Outside, Ethan Cross prepared his next move. He was alone, he was human, and he was about to enter the most dangerous prison in the galaxy. The endless prison believed humans should not exist here. Ethan was about to prove it wrong. The endless prison no longer felt silent. Alarms screamed through the metal halls. Red lights flashed without rhythm. The air shook with heavy footsteps as machine guards rushed from one corridor to another. Orders echoed from hidden speakers. Cold and without emotion, but inside the cells now open, something far more powerful was happening. The women stood in the doorways, frozen. Some had forgotten how to walk without permission. Others were afraid the doors would close again if they moved. Freedom felt unreal. A tall woman with silver skin stepped forward first. Her legs trembled, but she did not stop. She placed one foot outside her cell, then the other. Nothing happened. She was free. A soft sound escaped her mouth. A laugh, then a cry. Others followed. Soon, the corridor filled with movement, whispers, tears, and shaking hands touching open doors. Hope returned. Slow and careful, like a wounded thing. Then the guards arrived. Tall metal forms turned the corner. Weapons raised. The women panicked. Some tried to run. Others backed into their cells, fear crashing back into their hearts. A guard fired. The blast hit the wall above their heads, sending sparks across the corridor. The message was clear. Return. Obey. Survive. Before anyone could move, a new sound filled the prison. A deep dot. The wall behind the guards exploded inward. Metal tore apart like paper. Smoke filled the corridor. The guards turned, weapons locking onto the breach. Through the smoke stepped a human. He was tall but bleeding. His suit was damaged, cracked in many places. One arm hung lower than the other. But he stood firm, eyes locked forward. Ethan Cross had entered the endless prison. The guards fired. Ethan moved fast. He slid behind a broken wall, fired back with short, controlled shots. His weapon was simple, loud, and brutal. Each shot hit a guard joint, disabling them instead of destroying them. The guards fell one by one. Silence returned. But it was a different silence now. The women stared. They had never seen a human before. They had never seen anyone fight for them. Ethan turned slowly, raising his empty hand. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said. His voice was calm but tired. "I'm here to get you out." No one answered. Then a small voice broke the silence. "Why?" a young woman asked. Her skin was green, her eyes wide with fear. "Why would you come here?" Ethan looked at her. "Because someone had to," he said simply. The prison AI reacted immediately. Intruder located. Eliminate. The walls shifted. The floor moved. New corridors opened while others closed. The prison tried to separate Ethan from the prisoners. Ethan tapped his communicator. "Ship AI," he said, breathing hard. "I'm inside. Start extraction path." "Path unstable," the AI replied. "Prison adapting." Ethan glanced at the women. "We don't have much time," he said. "Stay close to me. Don't stop moving." They followed him not because they trusted him, but because they had nothing else. They moved through changing corridors, avoiding guards, crawling through damaged vents. Ethan covered the rear, firing when needed, never letting a machine get too close. Along the way, he spoke. "Your prison runs on old systems," he said. "Strong, but slow to change. I can confuse it, but I can't hold it forever." A woman with broken antennae looked at him. "You will die," she said softly. "Everyone who comes here dies." Ethan smiled, weak but real. "Maybe," he said, "but not today." Suddenly, the floor shook violently. The prison's core reacted to the damage. Energy surged through the walls. The AI made a decision, initiating total lockdown. All exits began to seal. Ethan stopped. "This is bad," he muttered. He turned to the women. "There's a transport bay ahead," he said. "If I can open it, you can escape. What about you?" One of them asked. Ethan did not answer. He turned back toward the core corridor, pain clear on his face. "I'll keep the prison busy," he said. The women realized the truth. He was not planning to leave. One woman stepped forward and grabbed his arm. "No," she said firmly. "You didn't come this far to die alone." For the first time, Ethan hesitated. And deep inside the endless prison, something changed again. Not fear, not control. Something worse. The prison realized it was losing. The endless prison was dying. It did not scream like living beings. It did not beg. It simply began to fail. Walls cracked. Floors shifted. Energy lines burst open, throwing sparks and fire through the corridors. The prison AI worked without emotion, but even it could not hide the truth. The system was collapsing. Ethan stood at the edge of the main transport bay. His breathing was heavy. Blood soaked part of his suit. Every movement hurt, but he forced himself to stay upright. Behind him, thousands of alien women gathered in fear and disbelief. The bay was huge, filled with old transport ships that had not been used in centuries. Dust covered everything. Darkness pressed down from every corner. The prison AI spoke through every speaker. "Evacuation unauthorized. Return to containment." Ethan ignored it. He ran to a control panel and connected his device. His fingers moved fast, shaking but focused. The screen flickered. "Come on," he whispered. Outside the bay, guards approached from multiple corridors. Their metal footsteps echoed like thunder. Weapons charged. Red targeting lights filled the air. The women backed away, panic rising. Ethan turned and raised his weapon. "Get ready to run," he said. "When the doors open, don't stop." A woman stepped forward. She was tall, her eyes sharp despite years of suffering. "You are not coming with us," she said. Ethan looked at her and gave a small smile. "Someone has to hold the door." Before she could reply, the transport bay doors began to open. Old engines powered up, waking from long sleep. Lights flickered on across the bay. The prison AI reacted instantly. "Emergency protocol. Seal all exits." The floor shook violently. The ceiling cracked. A massive guard unit dropped from above, heavier than the others. Armed with high-energy weapons. It fired. The blast hit near Ethan, throwing him across the floor. Pain exploded through his body. He struggled to stand. Vision blurred. The women screamed. Ethan forced himself up and fired back. His shots hit the guard's joints, slowing it, but not stopping it. The machine kept advancing. The prison core surged. A deep, low sound echoed through the structure, a warning. The energy core was unstable now. Ethan activated his communicator. "Ship AI," he said through clenched teeth. "How much time?" "Structural collapse in 4 minutes," the AI replied. 4 minutes. Ethan turned to the women. "Go," he shouted. "Now." They hesitated only for a second. Then they ran. Thousands of feet moved together. Women from different worlds, different species, all running toward freedom. Some helped the weak, some carried the injured. Tears streamed down faces that had forgotten how to cry. The heavy guard fired again. Ethan stepped in front of the blast. His shield shattered. He fell to his knees. The guard raised its weapon for the final shot. Then something unexpected happened. Several women turned back. They picked up fallen weapons, weak, old, untrained, but determined. They fired. The shots did little damage, but they distracted the guard. Just enough. Ethan used his last explosive charge and threw it. With all his strength, the explosion ripped the guard apart. Silence followed. Ethan collapsed onto the floor, barely conscious. The transport ships launched one by one, escaping the dying prison. Flames spread through the bay. The walls began to fold inward. The prison AI spoke again, its voice distorted. Containment failure. System ending. Ethan felt the floor crack beneath him. He looked up at the collapsing ceiling and closed his eyes. So this is it, he whispered. A loud crash echoed above him. Then darkness. Far from the prison, the transport ships escaped into open space. The women watched through the windows as the endless prison broke apart. Consumed by fire and light, they believed the human was gone. The galaxy believed the human was dead. But deep inside the wreckage of the prison, buried under broken metal and fire, a single life sign still flickered. Weak, alive. The galaxy watched the explosion from a safe distance. The endless prison, feared for thousands of years, broke apart in silence. Fire and light filled the empty space, then slowly faded into drifting metal and ash. For most of the galaxy, the story ended there. The prison was gone. The prisoners were free. The human was dead. That was what everyone believed. News spread quickly through trade networks and star systems. The reports were cold and short. Ancient prison destroyed. Unknown. Human responsible. Human vessel lost. Many species reacted with shock. Some with fear. Others with quiet relief. No one expected more. On a small, peaceful world far from the prison, the rescued women gathered. The planet was green, warm, and full of life. The sky was blue. Many of them had never seen such a color before. They stood together in silence. Freedom felt heavy. Some tried to smile. Some laughed too loudly. Others cried for no clear reason. Their bodies were free, but their minds were still inside the prison. One woman finally spoke. "Where is the human?" No one answered. Another woman stepped forward. Her voice shook. "He saved us, and we left him behind." Guilt spread like fire. They remembered him standing alone at the door, bleeding, tired, still fighting. He had given them time. He had given them life, and they had escaped. Medical teams arrived to treat the women. Food, clean water, soft beds, simple things felt strange after centuries of pain. But none of it felt right. The women asked the same question again and again. Did anyone search for him? The answer was always the same. The prison was completely destroyed. No rescue was possible. Days passed. The galaxy moved on. Trade resumed. Politics returned. Old empires breathed easier, believing a dangerous place was gone forever. But the women did not move on. They gathered in one place and shared their stories. Different worlds, different languages. One shared memory, a human who came alone. One of them stood up. "He was human," she said. "And humans are alone in this galaxy." Silence followed. Another woman added, "He saved thousands of us without asking for anything." Slowly, an idea began to form. Meanwhile, far from the green world, deep inside a drifting wreck, a faint light blinked. Ethan Cross was alive. He did not wake up. His body was crushed under metal and debris. His suit was torn. His breathing was shallow. Every system around him was dead, except one. His suit's emergency beacon. It sent a weak signal, repeating again and again into the darkness. Human life detected. Days later, a small patrol ship received the signal. They were not soldiers. They were explorers. When they found Ethan, they were shocked. "A human?" one of them said. "Here." They pulled him from the wreckage and rushed him to medical care. Ethan survived, but barely. When he finally opened his eyes, white light filled his vision. Machines beeped softly around him. "You're safe," a voice said. Ethan tried to speak. His throat burned. "The women?" He whispered. "They are free," the voice replied. Ethan closed his eyes. That was enough. Weeks passed. The women finally received the news. The human lived. The moment the message reached them, the world changed. Cries of relief filled the air. Some fell to their knees. Others embraced each other. Hope returned stronger than before. They did not celebrate. They planned. Across the galaxy, representatives of different species gathered. The rescued women spoke with one voice. "We owe him everything," they said, "and we will not forget." They made a choice that shocked the galaxy. They would stand with humanity, not as victims, but as allies. And somewhere in a quiet medical room, Ethan Cross slept unaware that his single act of courage was about to reshape the galaxy forever. The galaxy did not notice the change at first. There was no explosion, no sudden war, no loud announcement. Just quiet movement meetings held in secret, messages sent across secure channels, and ships changing course without explanation. The rescued women were the center of it all. They gathered on neutral worlds, places where old empires had no control. Each woman carried pain from the prison, but also something new: purpose. They spoke of the human, not as a warrior, not as a conqueror, but as a protector. "He came alone," one said. "No empire sent him. He fought machines that even fleets fear." Another added, "He stayed behind so we could escape." A third said softly. Across the galaxy, these stories spread, slowly at first, then faster. Species that once ignored humans began to listen. In a medical facility far from politics, Ethan Cross recovered. His body was weak, covered in scars. Machines helped him breathe. Doctors told him he was lucky to be alive. Ethan did not feel lucky. He watched the stars through a small window, wondering if his actions had changed anything at all. One day, a visitor arrived. She was tall, her skin silver, her eyes clear and sharp. She stood quietly by his bed. "You saved us," she said. Ethan tried to sit up. Pain shot through him. "I just opened a door," he replied. She shook her head. "You stayed," she said. She placed a small symbol on the table beside him. It was not metal or crystal. It was living material, warm to the touch. "Our people's mark of trust," she explained. "We give it only once." Ethan stared at it, unsure what to say. Soon, more visitors came. Different species, different forms. All women from the prison. They thanked him in their own ways. Some bowed. Some touched his hand. Some simply stood in silence. And then they left. Ethan thought that was the end of it. He was wrong. Far beyond the hospital, a massive alliance was forming. The rescued women had influence. Many came from powerful species scientists, strategists, leaders taken long ago to break their civilizations. Now they returned, and they remembered. They spoke to their people. "A human saved us." At first, the response was disbelief. Then proof arrived: prison records, sensor data, survivor accounts. The galaxy could not deny it. A single human had destroyed the endless prison. Old empires grew uneasy. If one human could do that, what else were they capable of? Humanity suddenly found itself noticed. Human ships were offered protection. Human worlds received visitors, not threats. Trade offers arrived. Military observers watched from a distance. Humans were confused. "We didn't do anything," they said. But the galaxy had seen enough. The rescued women made their final decision. They would form a united force, not to rule, but to protect, and humanity would stand at its center. They arrived at human space in a fleet unlike any seen before. Ships of different designs, different colors, different technologies, all moving together. When Ethan was finally strong enough, he was taken to see them. He stood on a platform, leaning on a support rail, staring at the sky. "You did this?" he asked quietly. The silver-skinned woman stood beside him. "No," she said. "You did." Ethan shook his head. "I never asked for this." She looked at him and smiled. "That is why you deserve it." The Alliance sent a message to the galaxy. "Humanity stands under our protection." The response was immediate. Threats vanished, borders shifted. Old powers backed away. The galaxy had learned a hard truth. Humans did not need an empire. They inspired one, and gratitude, when shared by thousands, became power. The galaxy had changed. It did not happen in a single day. There was no great battle to mark the moment. Instead, the change came quietly, spreading from system to system, mind to mind. Humanity was no longer ignored. Where human ships once traveled in fear, they now moved with respect. Trade routes shifted. Old empires watched carefully, unsure how to respond to a species that had never wanted power yet. Now held at the center of this change was one simple truth. A human had chosen compassion over safety. Ethan Cross stood on a quiet platform above Earth, looking out at the stars. He was stronger now, though the scars remained. They always would. Behind him, representatives of many species gathered. Some stood tall, some floated, some glowed softly in the dark. They were the survivors of the endless prison, and they were no longer victims. The silver-skinned woman stepped forward. "The galaxy must hear this," she said. A broadcast signal opened, reaching every major system. Her voice was calm, but firm. "For centuries we were imprisoned, forgotten, used. The galaxy knew, and the galaxy remained silent." A pause followed. Then one human came. Images filled the broadcast. Old prison corridors, broken chains, flickering alarms. A single human figure standing against machines. He did not come with an army. He did not come for reward. He came because it was right. The message continued. "We owe our lives to humanity, and we choose to stand with them, not in war, but in defense of freedom." Across the galaxy, reactions were instant. Some species bowed their heads in shame. Others felt fear. A few felt anger. Old empires met in secret, discussing the danger of humans, not because they were violent, but because they were unpredictable. "They act without orders," one leader said. "They act on emotion," another replied. "Yes," a third answered, "and that makes them dangerous." Ethan watched the stars as the broadcast ended. "I never wanted this," he said quietly. The silver-skinned woman stood beside him. "The galaxy does not choose heroes," she said. "Heroes choose the galaxy." Time passed. The Alliance did not attack anyone. It did not conquer worlds. It did something far more powerful. It protected the weak. When a slaver fleet attacked a border system, Alliance ships arrived, human ships among them. The slavers fled without firing a shot. When an ancient empire tried to rebuild another prison, the project vanished overnight. No threats were made. No warnings were given. The message was clear. Never again. Humanity became a symbol, not of force, but of choice. Human children grew up hearing the story of the endless prison, not as a tale of war, but as a lesson. One person can matter. Ethan Cross never became a leader. He refused titles. He returned to space, flying his repaired ship from world to world. Sometimes he helped rebuild stations. Sometimes he rescued lost crews. Sometimes he simply listened. Wherever he went, people remembered. On a distant world, a young alien child asked her mother, "What is a human?" The mother thought for a moment. "A human," she said, "is someone who will open a door, even if they must stand behind it." Years later, a monument was built in open space near the ruins of the endless prison. It was simple. No weapons, no crowns, just a figure holding an open door. The inscription was short. Never underestimate humanity. The galaxy would never forget. The endless prison. But more importantly, the galaxy would never forget the human who proved that kindness could shake the stars.